Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here. Welcome to 60 and Me. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Hope that you're doing great wherever you are. It's a lovely morning here. I'm feeling super positive and optimistic, and I've got a really good topic, I think, to talk to you about today. I hope that you enjoy it. I'm having my cup of tea. I'm enjoying my very, very simple Tetley English breakfast tea. It's from UK. I pick it up when I go there, and I just love my British tea. There you go. I love my little mug too. This is my favorite cup. But anyway, I hope that you've got a special drink or something that makes you feel comfortable, relaxed. I want to remind you that our sponsor for today's show is International Living. Now, we are working with International Living to help you be aware of the work they do around the world to analyze different places to retire. So they look at different countries that you might be considering as retirement destinations. And they have ambassadors, people who work on the ground to live there basically, and make assessments and report back on what they discover about living in that place. They put together an annual index of these places around the world, and they would like to share it with our community. So if you go up to internationalliving.com/60andme, you can take a look at their index and get it free of charge. Just have a look at it and investigate what might be possible for you. So thank you to International Living. Now, the topic today, interesting one. I hope you find it a little bit different than the things we normally talk about, but it's something that's very close to my own heart and something I don't think we've ever really talked about before. And that is about how spirituality changes as we get older. Now, I have a degree in comparative religion from the University of Colorado. That was my passion. I felt that somehow all the principles around organized religions led to the same point, which was kindness, positive values, and just having a gentle, treat each other gently and with love. Organized religions for me served as a function to deliver that behavior, that somehow the religions all had a common goal to give us a structure and a organization for living a happy, a positive, meaningful life, a roadmap to give us inspiration in how to live our lives and to give back as much as we can to the world. So at the very minimum, I felt that religious rituals offered community and a spiritual connection, a sense of solidarity and unity. I always felt that was the purpose of the religious traditions. I actually wanted to teach comparative religion. This was my goal when I was in college. I just thought it would be so fun to use religion conversation as a way to bring the world together, to make people just gentler and kinder with each other, to take those what I thought were key values of the religious experiences, regardless of the particular school. Now, my professor at the time was Bob Lester, and he did a wonderful thing for us in the first year of our program. He took us to places, synagogue, church, cathedrals, Buddhist centers, and we actually had a voodoo doctor come in and talk to us about the voodoo faith. And it was just such an experiential approach, and somehow that stayed with me. And as my life's turned out, I think I'm embodying a lot of those things I found useful in the study. So, what happens when you get older? Well, you start to think about your own mortality, for one thing. And I've always thought that dealing with the issue of our death and our mortality was at the heart of all religions. And, giving us a way to think about what happens when we die, or, just some framework for living a good life that would serve us well. So religion for me provided a lot of answers, a lot of coping mechanisms, and to be honest, was probably one of the key motivations for people turning to religion. But as we get older, it becomes even more focused, more intense as we try to think, what is next, and that sort of sense of positioning and purpose is aligned often to a renewal in spirituality, not so much a structured faith necessarily, but in a belief system that gives us our lives a context. So, how's that working? Well, it's working for some people within a traditional religious structure, and for other people, it's switching into something a little more abstract, and we'll talk about that in a second. So, I think the concept of spirituality evolves as we get older, and there's the common ground starts to be more important than the individual ritual or the individual manifestation. Now, I know that there are a lot of people in our community who are strong believers of one faith, and I respect that very, very much. But I do think that a lot of boomers who have had issues in their lives look for something that's a commonality that joins people together, rather than the going to one particular specific direction or the other. You'll find a lot of boomers in our age group are actually going to places where there's multiple faiths celebrated, or where there's a point of unity in how to celebrate. There's a book by a guy called Robert Wiseman. I've not read this book, but in the article that I was reading, he talks. Is a quote here which is very powerful. I'll read it. It says, as Robert Wiseman says, millions of boomers are happily writing their own scripts on matters of faith, experimenting, changing religions, and incorporating diverse traditions into their own beliefs. And I think that just talking to women in our 60andMe community, I think a lot of people have done this. They've taken the basic core beauty of having a sense that there's something bigger than us, something that's powerful, that we can turn to for strength. We don't have to turn to one or the other. It can be, there's a commonality that we celebrate. A lot of boomers, for example, are attending, even if they were raised in the Christian tradition, for example, they find themselves going to a Buddhist church or a Buddhist center, or to a, some other interdenominational service. And it's, each one we all have a personal journey here with our spirituality. But I guess what I'm trying to talk about is the trends, the things that may be impacting your life. So one is that we see the commonality rather than the individual ritual, and the other is that we experiment with different interdenominational and different faiths in creating this definition of spirituality. I think more people are seeing the connections between religious groups and seeing the connection between faith and social action. A lot of people are looking to religion to motivate and to empower, amplify the things that they wish they could see in the world. Theoretically, this should be the case. But as we have all experienced, there have been a lot of scandals and things happening in different religious traditions that have put us off a bit, or made us feel that there's something not quite right there. And we look for that same intensity of spirituality in other places. I think in general, as we get older, the search for meaning is stronger. There's like kind of a push to kind of understand what our place is in the world and what the point is of all of this. Why do we get old? What's the purpose? And time itself becomes more precious. So people, I think, are considering themselves, another trend here is more spiritual than religious. Maybe you have a point of view on this, or some thought you'd like to share. But, people want a spiritual compass. I think everybody wants that point of reference. If you're an atheist, for example, and have no beliefs, well, then you have other points of focus, other things that drive you in your life. And, who am I to judge? I mean, this is, the world is big enough to incorporate every individual's, beliefs. And if there is a higher being, it certainly has to be within their capability to understand at least different points of view. So I think there are still plenty of people who have a very strong connection to one faith or another. And as I said before, I totally respect that. And my experience as in my program as having a degree in comparative religion shows me that it can lead to wonderful, positive things in people's lives. Generosity and the love that's at the heart of all religions can be expressed in such incredibly beautiful ways. So I think the search in general, though, as we get older, for wisdom has widened. And so then our definition of spirituality has somehow, being redefined. And I'd love to get your feedback on this. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I think it's all about finding balance in the things that perhaps you believed as a child or as in growing up, and now as you're facing your mortality and understanding, trying to understand what the meaning of your life is, that we search for spirituality in a deeper and more meaningful way. So I'd love to know, what's your view on spirituality and religion? How has it changed as you've gotten older? I think that would be a really good conversation. I would appreciate it if we didn't have a lot of, very heavily weighted religious comments to this article. I don't think that's where this conversation should go. I just really want to know and have a conversation about how your views of spirituality have changed as you've gotten older. So if we can keep it in that context and in that boundary, that would be wonderful. Because I know this is a topic that people are so passionate about. It's in many people's lives. It is their life. It is what they do. It guides them every minute. But let's try to just take a step back and just look at it broadly for all of our sisters here in the community and be kind to each other. So that's a topic for today. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I love this kind of conversation because it's real, it's deep, it's what we do. And thank you so much for listening. And if you've got any points of view on this as to how your ideas about spirituality have changed as you've got older, let's leave them in the comments below and have a really good conversation. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. Look forward to the next conversation. And just want to say I thank you again for being here. You mean a lot to me. Bye-bye for now.